Good morning, guys. Hello, and welcome back to this channel and to those solo videos of mine, in which, as always, I'm inviting you to reflect together. The topic is, it contains, like it embraces all thing awakening, you could say, or expansion, or openness, or longing, this deep longing to be free. To be authentic, to live with peace, in peace with everything, to not suffer. And I have this intention for today to share, or to express and invite you to share as well what it's like to live like that with an open heart. What open heart means, what means to open the heart, and how this feels in my experience first. So when the heart starts opening, in the beginning it may be very subtle. It's like a calling. It's some kind of a calling from a place we don't know, but somehow it is familiar, or it is known. The calling in the beginning can be very subtle. But you find yourself drawn to certain books, certain videos, certain teachers, you could say, people. And you start feeling a resonance with some of those. And with that longing, or with that calling, there is also a longing emerging almost simultaneously, a longing for something which has no name. That was the experience here. There was such a deep longing, but I didn't know what I was longing for. It's just there was the knowing that it's not, it's something is missing, something is not quite right, maybe, or it's not that. And this longing in the beginning, it can be mistaken, at least that was the experience here, or maybe it's the experience for many of us, if not all. That longing for the beginning, it could be mistaken with a longing for a for a place in this world, let's say, good, or a proper job, a proper relationship, or a proper family, a longing for kids, a longing for a home, a longing for a family. And we start looking in that direction, thinking that if I'm having a good job, if I find someone, if I have a family, if I have kids, the longing eventually, not eventually, the longing will be satisfied. And it will stop, or it will cease. And in my experience, there was a proper job. I got married and I had a son. I had a child. And that was okay for a certain amount of time, probably around for about 2 years. And I'm not saying that there is something wrong of having a good job, a family or a kid. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just sharing what is the experience here. So after probably 2 years, I clearly remember the day in which I was sitting in our living room watching my kid playing. And I realized the longing is not fulfilled. It was not the kid, the child, what was longed for. I was happy. I become a mom. I gave birth, but the longing was not fulfilled. The longing was still there. And again, I couldn't say what was that. But it was clear that is not what was longed for. And there was sadness in that. And maybe this is where the heart starts opening. Because it dawned on me. It dawned on me, just it was so clear. Then longing start guiding and start moving in certain directions. And like many of us, I started looking in books. What was that? For which they were pointing. What was this? And I start looking like that outside. Inevitably. Heart was waiting patiently. I try different things, not so many. I try meditation. I try maybe one retreat. I read a lot of books, maybe not a lot, but I read some books. I couldn't understand, but I couldn't understand with the mind, but there was something responding to what was being read in the book, to those words. And still I couldn't name what was I looking for. I didn't know what was that, but the longing was there, longing for something. And I didn't know that I was longing for myself. We don't know. This is the last place we are looking for. The last place. So yeah, I was looking here and there, trying meditation, like I said, sitting in satsang. Trying to figure it out, words of some wise ones, which I considered as wise or awakened, and I was considering myself as something different, separate from that. There were moments in a total bliss or openness and love, but they didn't last. And I didn't know then on that these are states and they are subject to change. All states inevitably changed. And the story of my so-called life continues until a friend suggested a web page, a website, and I was curious to just open it, and I remember that I freeze to almost like such a fear. I felt such a fear there. Because on the main page it was written, "Do you exist?" And I felt something deeply. And I knew it, that if I enter that, somehow I knew it, I wasn't knowing. If I enter, if I move, if I make that step, which is not a step, of course, I'm gonna die. Something's gonna die. And there was such a fear. But the step somehow was made. And I ended there with a guide who asked me very simple questions. And in the course of, I guess, 2-3 weeks, it's all over. The story of Luciana looking for something ended there, in that forum, in Liberation Unleashed forum, having a guided conversation, one-on-one, writing. And that was the most simplest, extraordinary, and yet ordinary discovery ever. Suddenly, all the books start making sense, all the words. And there was this seeing that, but of course they are pointing the same. Of course, everything is pointing the same in one direction. Go within, look within. Forget all books, forget all words, forget all gods. Look inside. You are not different than all the wise ones, the sages. The God you're praising is you. So what happened then? I'm not sure about the years. Sorry. That was, I guess, 6 or 7 years ago. And yeah, that discovery was so profound. Not discovery, but I don't know, realization, shift in perception. So profound. I couldn't speak about for that. It was not possible to speak. The words which wanted to go out, actually, there were no words. There was this other surprise. And the longing for something was not there anymore. But there was a longing, not a longing, but an impulse to share, to express. There was this desire to shout out loudly to the whole world. It's as if world wants that, but yeah. And I started writing. I started writing poetry, some in Bulgarian, some in most in English, I guess. Yeah, and this is how the heart starts opening more and more. What follow next after that? Not everything was, it is not everything is, it's as if with a magic stick, all the problems or negative patterns or like not all of that is swept away. But in a way, so-called life or appearances, they become lighter, joyful, childish-like. There is trust. There is ease. I don't know what word to use, like ease. And there is no doubt of what I am or of what I am not. There is no doubt whatsoever. The longing, the desire for sharing or expressing is still here. As you can see, this is coming from the heart, not from here, but from here. And now there is still this feeling fulfillment or contentment, which, yeah, even the word contentment is not probably doesn't describe the feeling. It's like, yeah, it's like okayness or okayness with everything. Mm. Not wanting things to be different and yet embracing every change, like every change which comes. Because changes are coming inevitably. Nothing is stable. Nothing is like in one position. So this is from experience, sharing from the heart at experience what it's like to live with an open heart. With a quiet mind. Mind is also here. Thoughts are an inseparable part from the experience. Mind is a beautiful tool for making that expressing possible, these words. But these words are coming from the heart. This is not mind speaking. Mm. Mm. And thank you for sharing the resonance, for being here, for beautiful feedback and the comments and everything. It's such a joy when there is a resonance. This is oneness, resonating. Oneness, speaking to oneness, to itself, love, embracing itself. And how is it for you? What do you notice in your so-called journey? What it's like to live with an open heart? Heart has no fear. It doesn't recognize what fear is. If I was about to listen the mind and not the heart, if me and Lubo were about to listen to all the advices coming from first thoughts and then from relatives, friends, and who knows, who knows, who knows else. We would never be here. I mean, here in France, we would never make that. Like heart makes that possible. This is because of the heart opening. Not because of me or Lobo or because we are something special. No. This is heart's job. Not heart, but heart. Living with an open heart is more and more recognizing that there is only flow, ongoing flow, and you are not apart from that. You are the flow. You are it. It is you. Yeah. So really reach out if you feel you want to share something, or if you feel you want to look together at something. I'm here, holding the mirror to see yourself. Much love, guys. See you soon.